Are you wondering how long your bathroom remodel will take? Whether you're planning a simple refresh or a full gut job with permits, we're gonna break down real timelines so you can plan with confidence and avoid any surprise delays. Most of our homeowners underestimate how long a bathroom remodel really takes. They also don't understand what causes those timelines to shift. By the end of this video, hopefully you'll know exactly what to expect, how long it's gonna take, either with or without permits, and what you can do as a homeowner to keep your project on track. So first, let's define what we mean when we say a remodeling schedule. Technically, it is the chronological organization of all the tasks and trades required to complete your project. So for us at Northbuilt, we start that schedule at the very beginning. After the estimate is signed, we have a time allocated for pre-construction, we have a time allocated for purchasing and material procurement, and then we have time allocated for the actual work. For the case of this video and for kind of how we approach it with our clients, we really talk about the work. Like when is it gonna get dirty in your home? So again, all of that put together is gonna be the whole duration. And that's gonna give us a good picture of how long your project is gonna take from start to finish, as well as the dirty part, the actual construction. I think it's important to have a fully developed schedule. It provides you, the homeowner, with clarity and kind of understanding of how these fit together and the timelines associated with it. It also lets you hold me, the contractor, and our team accountable to staying on that schedule. So I found that contractors who don't produce kind of a formal schedule, they tend to have overruns, both schedule and cost overruns. Their projects can take longer. They can have gaps in the middle where they start today and then they forgot to order something, so they have to take a week before they come back. Ultimately, that just kind of results in headaches for you. So at Northbuilt, we have a saying: treat small projects like big projects. If a team is building a skyscraper, they don't get to the 23rd floor and go, oh yeah, I remember this was gonna be a problem. Yeah, we gotta shut it down. Let's go back to the board and figure this out, right? They don't do that. They plan in the front end and they do as best they can to avoid all of those problems before you even start. We believe the same care and attention should be given to smaller projects like your bathroom remodel. And that's a huge factor and a key thing you shouldn't forget when choosing your contractors. It's like, is their team capable of managing your project effectively? And is that something that you wanna see? And it's just something to consider and be well aware of when you choose your remodeler for your project. So now that we understand what a remodel schedule is, let's dig a little deeper into what goes into making it. So when we think of tasks and trades that go into a construction schedule, nearly all bathroom projects will require roughly 8 scopes of work or 8 trades. They're gonna be demo, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, carpentry, drywall, paint, and then we call it punch lists. So kind of the very end, the last little bits, hang in the mirror, all of that. So those are the 8 key trades that we put into our schedules for the construction duration. Obviously, depending on the details of your project, these can change slightly, but for the sake of this conversation, 8 is a really good rule of thumb. Next, let's consider kind of the selection level. We have 3 selection levels, right? We have Essential, Premier, and Luxe. Think of that as like kind of good, better, best. As you move up the levels, the craftsmanship required and the time, maybe it's more intricate design, complex installations, etc. The time associated with that is gonna grow as well. So as we kind of move up those selection levels or those packages, you can expect your duration to also lengthen. It's obviously not like a perfect correlation, but in general, that's a good rule of thumb. You have 8 trades, and the more complex your project, the longer that those 8 trades are gonna take to get to the end result. Lastly, let's touch on permitting. So if your project requires a permit, you can expect to add at least a few days for inspections. Some municipalities have certain days you can do them, some you can't. It just depends, and that fluctuates pretty widely based on where you're located. If you're unsure if your project requires a permit, head over to our channel. We got a video there explaining that in greater detail. So to recap, a schedule gives us all of our tasks combined into one for an overall duration of your bathroom remodel project. The main factors that can affect that duration are the project type, the selection package, and if it's permitted or non-permitted. So at Northbuilt, we break our bathroom remodels into 4 project types: wet area, powder bathroom, guest bathroom, and the primary bathroom. A wet area, kind of like it sounds, it's the area you bathe in, the tub shower combo area. Typically they're in like a guest bathroom. They're usually gonna be 3 to 5 feet or about 15 square foot. in total. And then we see these, like I say, in guest bathrooms most commonly. Next, powder bathroom. This can also be known as a half bathroom. Typically has two components, a sink and a toilet, and the size of it, it ranges slightly, but it's usually going to be about 5 by 5, 25 square feet. They usually are on the smaller side of the rooms in a home, and they're situated kind of by the front door, maybe by the back door, or near like a gathering area, commonly used by visitors or just in and out, you know, if you're out in the yard. Next, guest bathrooms. This can be called a hallway bathroom, sometimes a full bathroom. We call them guest bathrooms. It's got the three components, sink, toilet, and a shower, or that tub shower combo, kind of like we talked about. Typical size of this is going to be 5 by 8 or 40 square feet, often located by bedrooms, in hallways, you know, commonly used by people who live in the home or guests that are kind of staying overnight, things like that. One of the most popular bathroom layouts that you'll see across the board. The primary bathroom, it usually has 5 components, usually a double sink, a toilet, and then it has an independent shower and a separate bathtub. So those are split. They're usually not tied together. They're split out. Typical size of this ranges a lot, but for our video and kind of what we talk about, we usually see them at about 10 by 12 or 120 square feet. Usually they're located in the primary bedroom. If not, they're right next to it. Now we've established kind of what a remodel schedule is, what our different project types are. Let's just dig into the meat of it. How long can you expect them to take? And again, let's remember that we're going to talk specifically about the construction portion of the schedule. Having this developed gives you a good, clear picture of project timelines. Like, this is actually based on our experience and what we've encountered from our projects. Most, but not all projects will fall into these general buckets. Each project is unique, and this is just a really, really good guideline that we can stand behind. If you look at our graph here, the first project you'll see on the left-hand side of the chart is going to be that wet area remodel. For our essential package, assume 1 to 2 days. For the Premier package, assume 2 to 7 days. And for the Luxe package, assume 5 to 14 days. As we go down, the next one is going to be the powder bathroom remodel. For the Essential package, assume 3 to 5 days. The Premier package, assume 5 to 14. And the Luxe, assume 10 to 21 days. Guest bathroom remodel. For the Essential package, assume 7 to 14 days. The Premier package, assume 14 to 28 days. And for the Luxe, you can assume 28 to 42 days. Lastly, let's talk about the primary bathroom remodel. For the Essential package, assume 7 to 14 days. The Premier, assume 14 to 28 days. And for the Luxe, you can assume 28 to 49 days. In general, smaller projects, as you can see, usually take 1 to 2 weeks to complete, while the larger ones, we recommend preparing to be in construction anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. As your space gets larger, it goes from a wet space to a primary bathroom, you're adding more components, you're adding more trades, you're just adding more things to tackle in that project, the duration is going to get longer. Additionally, as you go from something very simple like the Essentials package, where it's pull and replace, commonly available materials, that's a shorter duration. As you move across that chart that we've got, you're going to get into more complex remodel projects with higher finishes. The level of craftsmanship has to go up as well. We might have tile that's in intricate patterns. We might have movement of layout. Like, all of that affects timeline, and hopefully this chart will give you at least a good guideline, and you know, us kind of walking through it helps you understand that as your project gets larger and more complex, just expect it to take a little bit longer to complete. A few other factors to consider that's going to affect your entire project duration outside of that actual construction that we just outlined. More of the front end work. So some of these factors to consider is pre-construction, right? Like the planning phase. The ways that you can impact that, making decisions quickly, frequent communication, moving through pre-construction seamlessly helps you kind of shorten that duration if you're wanting to move quickly. Permit turnaround times. Each jurisdiction has a kind of a different time frame, different timeline, different review process. So permit timelines tend to change pretty drastically from different municipalities, but that's something to just consider, right? Like, once you submit that permit, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 10 weeks, depending on the size of the project and kind of the backlog at the permit department. Selection lead times. Let's use cabinetry as an example. If you pick an off-the-shelf vanity ensemble, right? Comes with a cabinet, a top, and a sink, all integrated, ships out, we just set it in there. Quick turnaround, maybe in a couple weeks. If we do some fully custom cabinets, you know, from one of our guys in their shops, that could be 12 weeks. So again, when you think of like the actual duration of when we say, okay, let's start working on your project, these can really lengthen those or shorten them if you're quick about that and make decisions around those factors. Change orders. If we've went through the whole pre-construction process and we're going through it, and then all of a sudden, Alex, I really don't like what we picked here. Can we do something different? Sure, no problem. But that change order could affect the duration of your project and will likely affect the duration of your project. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, inspection delays. These aren't super common, but what happens a lot and what we see frequently is we request an inspection maybe on Thursday or Friday. Maybe those inspectors are booked already. Maybe there is something behind the scenes that we don't know about. And now that inspection gets pushed to maybe Monday or even Tuesday of the following week. We just lost 3 to 4 days, right? That's not something we can really control, but it's a factor that we kind of build into our schedules as like, hey, this might push. Let's try to accommodate for that as best we can with the knowledge we know about that particular jurisdiction or maybe about that time of year. So hopefully this video gave you the tips and tricks and tools to attack your next remodel project and understand what goes into that schedule. As a reminder, the 3 key things that are going to affect it are project type, selection level, and if it's permitted or not. If you're concerned, have questions, or just want to chat through something that you've got on your mind with a project coming up, head over to the website, northbuiltconstruction.com, fill out a form. Our team will get back with you. We'd love to understand what you've got going on, and if it's something we can help, we'd love to help you.